guys, 24/7 Tech here, and the Dell XPS 15 2-in-1. It was released a few days ago. People have gotten it, and I've saw this device, and I really enjoy looking at how this is performing, and I'm also looking towards this for my personal use too, and because I'm in the market for a video editing system like some people are, and it's looking like an awesome computer. But before we go any further, let's talk about some of the things that I enjoy about this computer. So one thing is, which I do like, is that screen. It's a beautiful 4K screen, and even if it's such a nice bright display, and it's so good. Another thing which I do actually enjoy, I'm one of the people who do, is that keyboard. It's more reinforced now. I think it's flush. It's really flush now, and it's type of MacBook Pro style keyboard. Except it's not that clicky. You know, a MacBook Pros would go. This one probably goes. You don't hear it as much, which is some things that I enjoy. And what do I don't enjoy? Just two things. One, this subpar battery life. It's just not there yet, and if you buy a 4K one, then you're sort of done for with battery life. And also that webcam. I don't think I use the webcam, but it's just a thing I don't like. When I need to use it, I like to have it, but if I were to use a webcam on the computer, probably would look towards something else, like maybe an iPad. But yeah, anyways. Let's just talk about the design. The design is a really, really striking device. It looks like your traditional XPS 15, like, by no doubt. It's the carbon fiber finish, as you've seen before. I'm fine with it. I don't really care. I prefer any one, the Alcantara, which is featured on the Surface lineup, the carbon fiber, or even the just aluminum, which is featured on the MacBook. I still go towards aluminum. It just feels nice a little for me. But that soft touch feels pretty decent. And the design is overall really, really good. I love the minimal bezels, as you can see right here. The bottom bezel is still a little thick, but that's to house the logo and the webcam. But all that reinforced bezel thing, I'm really liking. One thing I would like to improve is that hinge. It could use a little help, but anyways, it's still a really, really good device. But how about that display? Well, I mean, it's an awesome display, but one of the problems is battery life, which we'll get to later. The display is a very vivid 4K 3840 by 2160 if you upgrade it to the 2200 model. But if you're looking at the base model, which comes in at $1,500, it's only a 1920 by 1080 panel. So it's actually on the downside. They should have at least included maybe a 2160 by 1440 or 2560 by 1440. That would have made it at least some more enticing for the $1,500 you're paying, which is quite a lot if you think about it. The base MacBook Pro, just a 13-inch, comes with a 2560 by 1440, and that's just a 13-inch. The 15-inch is 2800 by 1800, which is just up there. XPS should have got it, but the display, unless you upgrade to the 4K, isn't as great. So depends what model you're going to get. But this leads us to the next category, which is battery life. I'll tell you, if you're just streaming video for the 4K, you probably get around 6 to 7 hours. Don't expect anything much more, if not less. If you're in the 1080 one, you can expect maybe around 8 to 10 hours, but XPSs haven't been the top of battery life ever. Really, that's probably owed to the MacBook Air series still, with that 12-hour battery life, or even LG's Gram. But battery life is not there. And if you're video editing with a 4K computer, which I sort of want to do now, it's going to be one of the worst things you can buy. You can actually get maybe around 2 to 4 hours of battery life without going back to plug-in. And that's actually a huge disadvantage. Another thing which this is in the middle range is the brightness of the displays. It comes in at around 380 nits. It's not the worst of the pack. There's still some premium laptops out there with 300 nits, but the MacBook Pro comes with a display of 460 nits, which is better if you're in an outside environment, and this is basically a portable computer, so you want it to be a little brighter than usual. How about the keyboard and trackpad? Here's a picture of the keyboard. Looks awesome. It's lower travel, actually. I think it's just 0.7 millimeters of key travel right now. It's actually a little lower than usual. It's going the MacBook Pro way, but I think they mastered it better than the MacBook Pro. One thing I would like is larger keys. These are a little tiny for my liking. And spread them out a little more would makes more sense. But how about the trackpad? This is, I don't know, they should start improving this. Windows computers in general. I've never seen a quality trackpad as good as something like the MacBooks. Like even the age-old MacBook Air, which is back in 2015, is doing way better than this. And just switch to glass and make the trackpad a little better. Make it a little bigger too. As you can see right here, it's pretty small. Take that little line out. It's just ugly. Leave it. And make it bigger, I'd say it would be fine. The carbon fiber material, as I said before in the video, I don't really care about. It's some people will deeply enjoy it. Some people will be like, oh, I hate this. Some people like me, or most of the people actually, are in the middle. They're like, it's okay. It'll get dirty at times, but it looks cool and it feels good. But how about the performance? This is one of the areas where the XPS is really good at. It comes with an 8th gen i5 processor, and you can spec that up to an i7 processor. It can be spec'd up only up to 16 gigabytes of RAM. We wanted to see 32, but didn't really come yet. And you can also spec up the SSD up to 1 terabyte, I think, which is pretty big. All the benchmark scores are absolutely good, and it's not the best thing you'll see, I'll tell you that. I think that's still the MacBooks. But as you can see in this whole comparison, it's sort of undershadowed by the MacBook Pro in basically every single thing. And even in audio, it's not the best thing in the world. I still recommend getting another speaker, but it does have stereo speakers, which isn't that bad, but they're not front firing, or they don't have a speaker grill, which is in the front. This does come with a dedicated graphics chip, which is nice because you're paying a ton of money for this, and you really want this to come up and be there. So that brings us to the price. It starts at $1,500, but it can be spec'd up to well over $2,500. I think up to $2,600 if I'm mistaken. Correct me in the comments. And if you want that 4K display, you're going to pay $2,200, says Dell. And that gives you only 16 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage, which is a problem. They should have at least gave maybe 512 gigabytes or even 32 gigabytes of RAM for that, but it's still a problem. And because you're basically paying $400 just for that 4K display, which actually leads to lower battery life. So most people will probably go for the 1080p version, probably the mid-range model, the 1800. Comes with 16 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage, 1080p display, 2-in-1, and it's $1,800, which is a little more reasonable than the $2,200. So what's the verdict? This has a lot going for it. It's a 4K laptop, which is 2-in-1, and it's a small form factor, but a big display. That's what a lot of people are looking to see, but could these hold you down? The battery life, the webcam, and those stuff. They do have some added perks, like the fingerprint built into the power button, but is it worth it? Well, we don't really know. It looks promising, but I think I'll stick with MacBook Pros for now, and Dell just has to sort of give us a bigger step forward into the game. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like down below. Subscribe right up there for more awesome content. And guess what? I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.